Picture this. You're in front of your latest prospect, closing the biggest deal of your life. Your pitch decks were perfect. Your scripts, flawless. And when the time came to answer the golden question of, are you ready to move forward? Nothing happened. For everyone who loves sales, this is their worst nightmare. But fear not, because in this podcast, we're unraveling the enigma behind those missed opportunities. From appointments that evaporate to presentations that felt like a Broadway show but ended in awkward silence, we're dissecting it all. Welcome to Love Your Sales.
This podcast is presented by GenHead. GenHead leverages AI so small and medium-sized businesses can find their ideal clients to make more sales. Other companies talk about AI, but we are using it every day to drive down marketing costs and increase revenue. Learn more at genhead.com. That's genhead.com.
Welcome to another episode of Love Your Sales. I am joined by Dave Siegel today. I am so excited to have him. Dave has been helping companies achieve greater profits by reducing enterprise risk, optimizing processes, applying appropriate technology, and working across business units to fill communication gaps to achieve the necessary results. Dave has been working in healthcare, financial services, and insurance, both as a management consultant and employee for over 30 years. Dave is the CEO and senior advisor at Segal Advisory Services, and I am thrilled to have him join me today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything that I missed?
You forgot the faster than a speeding bullet and able to leap a tall building in a single bound. But otherwise, I think you nailed it.
Oh, well, so you are a superhero by
Yeah,
night?
at times. Sure.
Oh,
Fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm thrilled to be interviewing a superhero then. Now, you and I, when we talked, I loved our conversation because you are unique to my you're going to be a unique one to this conversation because you had made a comment, I hate sales.
I hate sales.
I love it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So why?
Well, I like creative, fresh, new challenges, and it is the very, in my humble opinion, the very tight cycle that sales is. It's the prospecting, it's the qualifying, it's the contacting, it's the repeat. And I enjoy connecting with new people. I enjoy the digging in and understanding, finding the pain, finding the opportunity, helping them. But it is the sales cycle that the predictability of it or the repeatability of it that I just don't like it. Sorry, just don't like it.
And that is, I would say, the number one reason that salespeople will fail,
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
because it comes down to, if you don't follow that, and it really it is a pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So I've got a new lead. They go into your CRM, they go into your Excel spreadsheets. If some
Mm-hmm.
people are still on Excel spreadsheets, you're a small business. You make that first contact. You may actually get a one-on-one with them, get to know them a little bit, and then they drop into your funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is a consistent, in order to be at the top, the one percenters, it is the consistent reach out, touch, email, call, touch, email, call, some type of or form of continuous communication with that person to stay top of mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that, you're not top of mind.
Right.
And when the need that you offer comes up, if they're not thinking about you, they're going to go to the service that is staying top of mind.
That's right. That's right. And you know that there's a likelihood, given that I do executive consulting, executive advisory work, the first person plants the seed
Mhm.
and puts the idea in their head, and that has to germinate. And like you said, if you're not really building the relationship beyond the initial couple contacts, touch points, you've put the idea in their head, and then somebody else is going to actually be the one to engage. No doubt.
Yes.
No doubt. Yeah.
So you may be the person that actually cracks the egg, but you're not the person that actually, goes and cooks it and all of the other stuff because you've fallen off. You're no longer.
Right.
So now we understand, your position on this. H- how have you pushed forward to be successful?
Well, I think that it's okay to understand you don't like something, but that doesn't mean you don't do it. And I network constantly. Um, we met through a common person. I'll give her a shout out, Christina Shrive.
Mhm.
She and I are both on the Alpha team, building an H7 networking group here in Florida. H7 networking is a nationwide networking uh, entity. I'm in other networking groups as well, and everything that I do is through referral and word of mouth.
Mhm.
And so therefore, it's constantly speaking with people. And I think that the honest truth is we're always selling. Every conversation is in some way informing, um, or listening, pulling information that you can say, is this somebody that I can help directly or indirectly? So yeah, it's not like I can say I don't like selling and therefore I'm not doing it. It's I don't like the sales process, but I'm engaged in it constantly.
And we all are. And I think that's the number one misconception of people that people have. I mean, yes, maybe the engineer, the IT person that sits in an office and has limited contact from the outside world or doesn't have any contact from the outside world can say, I don't do any selling,
Right,
except when all of the sudden they're with their friends
right.
and they're, yeah, dude, totally got to go to that. And I'm in Milwaukee Brewer game. Come on, man, we got to go. All of a sudden they find themselves
Mm-hmm.
selling their friends on
Sure.
going somewhere or doing something. So no matter what, at some point in our lives, we are selling, we're pitching, we're negotiating, it's just a matter of when, where, how. Some
Yeah.
people do it as a profession, some people slide into it as a friend.
Yep.
What we call the peer pressure
Hmm.
is actually a form of selling. So when people will say to me, I hate salespeople, I'm like, really? Really? You hate everybody? Because everybody in one way or another
Right.
is a salesperson.
There was a word, there is a word right now that has gained almost a secondary meaning, in my opinion. When you were in a company, there was the distinction between the decision maker and those who held influence.
Mhm,
Okay, those who were the influential people, those
mhm.
those are the people who advised the decision makers. Well, now, I can say honestly, I don't use TikTok, but it seems like everybody is a self-appointed, self-anointed influencer. So what used to be advertising is now influencing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everybody has the power to influence. If you have an opinion, if you have a position, if you have a thought, um, I'm guessing if you live in a cabin on the side of a mountain somewhere, there's not a whole lot of people around you to influence. But, like you said, peer pressure is influencing.
Mm-hmm.
And in a company, in my case, helping a company understand what what AI is. Why could it be valuable to them from a business perspective, not from a technology perspective? They're asking me to influence them with data and with relevant information, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's to me the word that used to mean you were a a person of influence because of your experience and knowledge and its expertise. Now it's kind of been diluted to I'm a 25-year-old man or woman who receives product in the mail, and therefore I go on TikTok and I try to influence people. That's advertising. That's
Mm-hmm.
maybe marketing and advertising. But the word is very necessary in the sales process.
Mm-hmm. And how powerful is it to be asked to influence me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're hired by a company to come in and they're like, okay, influence me on XYZ.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
if we bring that back to the root of where it really came from, they're like, sell me on this.
Right. That's it. It's, advisory work. I'm not a consultant. What we do is we advise. We want the client to, as quickly as possible, feel that we are sitting on their side of the
Mm-hmm.
table, seeing the problem or opportunity from their eyes and their point of view. And then we're able to say to them, okay, given what you want to achieve and given the time frame and the resources you have to allocate to it, I'm advising you to consider this or this or this, and I'm advising you to stay away from this or this or this.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, it may be advising a path, but then when it gets closer to decision making, yes, you are being brought in and you are being paid to influence. You are being paid to be an objective third party who is not going to receive compensation from a vendor or a product or a platform. You are influencing a decision that helps them feel comfortable and knowledgeable and um, to achieve what they need to achieve.
Right. Yeah. And that's a powerful position to be put in. Um, and I think that's it. One, that's a powerful position to be put in. I was going to try to come up with a two, and I was like, wait, no, it's just that is it. It not only is it a powerful position to be put, it holds a great deal of responsibility because it once you have influenced, once you have made recommendations, once you have, and they have decided to go down that path,
Hmm.
who are they looking to if that doesn't work?
I was just thinking the same thing. Um, Leighann, if I influence somebody and they um, pursue the path that I'm suggesting, there are a couple different approaches.
Hmm.
There are companies, very, very wealthy, nationally, internationally, globally known companies that provides strategy, advisory, influence, etc. They influence and then leave. It's like, okay, well, I've given you the strategy, I've given you what you asked for, and now it's your choice. And if you decide to pursue it, you own the positive and or the negative. My approach
I'd
is
love to be in that position.
It's a
Hey, hey, go jump off that cliff. If you decide, I'm out of here. If you
that's
don't, I'm out of here.
it's if the chute doesn't open, sorry, dude. Um, but what my approach, my company's approach is we definitely are the trusted partner. So, everything comes back to reputation. If I if you influence or advise three, four, five, 10 clients, and your batting average is good enough to get in the Hall of Fame in baseball. Let's say your batting average is 317
Mhm.
or even 400. We'll make it Ted Williams. 400. That means you've failed 60% of the time. Okay. In baseball, that's amazing. In baseball,
Right.
that would be the best hitter of all time as a career 400 hitter. It means that career you got out 60% of the time and everyone thought you were amazing. In business, that's a different metric.
Right.
Chances are if I'm advising one, two, three, five, 10 clients and they're not reaching a level of success, my reputation is going to be shot. My
Right.
my my possibility of future work in a referral basis from any of them is obviously zero. So we not only do the influencing part, but we stay to help um, advise the execution.
Hmm.
A lot of what comes down in business is knowing where the potholes are and knowing where the failure points are. In fact, I have a work of art in the other room that says an expert knows what not to do. So I think a
Yeah.
differentiator.
And I love that because often it's not what to do, it is what to avoid doing.
Yeah,
And then once you are on the right path, pivoting
yeah,
appropriately as you are going through each next step.
that's right.
And I mean, and that's all we can do. I mean,
Right.
especially in like the sales game and the marketing game, and it's not necessarily always knowing the right answer. It's knowing, no, just don't do that.
Right. Right.
And then and definitely in sales, in every sales call, like I can't walk in and say, okay, this is exactly what we are going to do, because you are working with a human element.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what that human or how that human is going to react. And so in business it's the same thing. Like coming, and again, I always hate to bring politics, so I'm going to just brush over this because I'm not going one way or another. However,
Mm-hmm.
we just
Mm-hmm.
came out of an election year, right?
Yep.
Everybody kind of knew what not to do, which is go out and spend a ton of money and all of this other, everybody kind of went, okay, this is where we kind of hold close to the chest, and we just stay in a holding pattern until we understand what's going to happen with the economy the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Then once we see what the new playing field looks like,
Right.
then we can start to figure it out.
That's right.
And I
That's
mean,
right.
and that happens at every single election year. Um, well, it, and I came from the staffing industry. And the predictors in hiring are just insane. You always see the predictors in hiring and the
Mm-hmm.
hiring patterns
Mm-hmm.
prior to what's going to happen with everything else. It's
Yeah.
wild. Um, but that's for any business. It's what not to do, instead of saying, oh, here's what to do, here's what's not to do, and then let's pivot to the right way. And a great advisor, a great salesperson,
Mm-hmm.
any great business person, as long as they take that mentality,
Mm-hmm.
then and often there's people out there who mistake that, and they're like, no, 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 I want to know exactly what we need to do right now. And you're like,
Right. Well, let me ask you a question, if I may. Um,
yes,
okay. So now the interviewee becomes the interviewer.
please.
Um, would you agree that strategy, the way I define strategy in a very simple fashion, is that when you get on an airplane at Mitchell Field and you're flying to Paris, okay, strategically, they know where they want to land. They
Mm-hmm.
know the end point on the horizon is Charles de Gaulle Airport. Now, en route, there's going to be wind, there might be storms, there might
Right.
be turbulence. So they're constantly forced to make adjustments, tweaks, tactical tweaks,
Yep.
but the strategy remains intact.
Mm-hmm.
If you, and in fact, if the weather at Charles de Gaulle shifts dramatically in the 6 hours or 8 hours, whatever, however long the flight is, and they have to divert you, then that was a strategic change based upon new information.
Mm-hmm.
In the sales process, do you feel that that is a similar approach?
Absolutely. There's been 100%. There's been times where I have a proposal all ready to go and I walk into a meeting and I'm ready to present that. And
Hmm.
when I walk in the meeting, I get a sense in the room and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not presenting this proposal today. Either they're not ready for it
Yeah.
or there's a sense in the room that like there's just something that's not right or there's an extra person in there and they start asking all of these questions and I'm like, I don't know that I have the solution yet.
Hmm.
Like they're still in discovery mode and
Yep.
I'm in presentation mode.
That's right.
And it's like, wait a second, I missed something here. And if you were to push forward,
Yep.
if that pilot were to just be like, I'm just going to keep going,
Yeah.
you're going to crash and burn.
It's a very good chance. Yes.
I mean, and that's in life in general.
Right.
You're driving down the highway and there's big, huge orange cones that say, don't drive this way. The road is closed. Well, do you just keep driving?
Well, what's
And
interesting is that, yeah, in business, the number of times that I have in my career, um, and it can be a startup or it could be a Fortune 25,
Mhm.
the number of times that you say to a business leader, can I see your published business strategy? It's probably a 3-year, 5-year plan. Can I see where we are right now? The number of people who say, it's not ready for prime time. It's not formulated. It's not published. Well, that's a key thing necessary. Filing a flight plan is kind of important.
Right.
The number of businesses who jump onto the tactical and say the strategy will figure itself out, um, it just doesn't work.
No,
It
you still have to have the plan.
right.
You still have to have, how do we get from point A to point B?
That's right. And so
But
I'm guessing in sales, it's our sales teams tactically driven, in your opinion, like does sales strategy exist in your clients or in your companies, or do you help them craft that?
it all depends on what they're looking for. And that's, do you have a strategy and plan and are you looking for me to help execute that?
Mm,
Or do
mhm.
you not have that? And do you want to sit down and figure out what does that look like today? What does it look like in 30 days, 6 months, a year?
Yeah.
And you also have to have the end in mind. Where do
Hmm.
you want to be? Okay, so you're making X
Nice.
amount a month today.
Yep.
What do you want to make in 12 months? And do you want, what does that growth look like? What are you capable of?
Right. Exactly.
It's like a salesperson. If you were to tell a salesperson, "Oh yeah, you making your revenue," and again, it could be completely different depending on the industry, but you're bringing in $100,000 a month.
Hmm.
And if you keep just telling the salesperson, "That's so great. That's so great. Just keep doing it."
Hmm.
They're going to be happy with just making $100,000 a month for the business every month.
Hmm.
But if you sat them down and went, "You're doing awesome. I love it. You're so great. Now, How do we take $100,000 a month to $120,000 a month?
Yep.
What do we have to do to increase that each month? What activities are we doing that we need to increase those activities?
Yeah.
How do we increase that to $200,000 a month?
Yep.
And we actually talk about what is creating those results. If that salesperson understands what's creating those results, they will be able to then translate that into, oh, okay, so when I do this, this happens. When I make my sales calls, I get X amount of appointments. When I go on this amount of appointments, those turn into, presentations. This many
Mm-hmm.
presentations turns into this many. You have to understand the ratio to close.
Yes.
How many
Yes.
appointments turn into close?
That's right.
Like, and once your salesperson understands those numbers,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden they're like, oh, I just need 5 more appointments a month.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
can go to, 100,000 to 120,000.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yeah.
it's again, it's a numbers game. And I learned that, um, I learned that really early on, that like if I made X amount of phone calls, and then as you make those phone calls,
Mm-hmm.
you get better at them.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, I don't have to make as many phone calls.
There you go. Yes. Efficiency is very important.
Right. Right. Let's not throw spaghetti at a wall and just hope that something sticks there.
Right.
Let's do less work more efficiently.
Right.
And people think like, well, if I just keep doing what I'm doing today,
Mm-hmm.
it'll continue to work. Well, why?
No. No. We're kind of now dancing between what you do and what I do, which, again, is very, very what what you're talking about is data driven.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually collecting information to assess and analyze and improve and optimize. And that is exactly what we are asked to do. Oftentimes, people will come to us incorrectly by saying, we want to solve this technology issue, or we want to reduce the amount of money we spend on technology. This is not a technology problem. What this is, first of all, you go and you look at the processes and you say, are the processes that are being done that are critical? I won't say mission critical, but let's just say critical processes. I'll put it into your audience's arena. Let's say it's sales processes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First, we look at them and we make sure that they are most efficient. Because in any organization, and I think um, can't remember who exactly said it first, but it was a brilliant thing. Um, if you if you try to add technology to a poor process, you just amplify inefficiency. So the first thing we do is we look at the process, the sales process, and we figure out, is it most efficient and optimized for your purposes?
Mm-hmm.
Then we look at the people and we say, okay, are the people complying? Are they following the process? Are they circumventing it? Are they saying, I've been doing this for 35 years and I'm going to continue doing it my own way on the back of napkins? So you got,
Back of napkins.
so you got the process optimized, you got the people. I don't want to say people optimized, but I want to make sure that the people are actually following the optimized processes. Then and only then can you introduce technology or something, because I
Right.
call it the what and the why and the how, right? People, process, and technology. You got to get the what and the why correct, because the how is the most transient piece. It will change. Technology will change. So then you can say, now we've got these optimized sales processes. Now we've got our people following them. Now let's collect data and make sure that, first of all, everything is operating as we expect it to. Okay. Oftentimes you have to install a feedback loop to make sure that all of your assumptions and your modifications are actually bearing fruit. Then you can say, all right, let's apply technology. Maybe that is a CRM improvement. Maybe it's CRM, like you said, where it doesn't exist. Maybe it's reporting. Maybe it's a better business intelligence element being
Mhm.
introduced so that your salespeople, sales managers, leadership, and executives are being informed in a way that not to weed out or to negatively, punish, but rather to say we have found patterns that are working and we want to make sure everybody can benefit from them because salespeople, of course, want to succeed for their own bottom line.
Mhm.
Um, so I hope I've stayed on track. What you're saying is that you need to be able to know when what does success look like, what does failure look like within your own
Right.
four walls. And I think that that is again something that my um, company focuses on is
Mhm.
helping companies of any size um, find and create efficiencies.
It it absolutely does. And you made the point of it doesn't bringing in something to analyze the data before you have reviewed the processes, made sure that the people are doing what's the point of doing that
Right,
if the processes are broken in the beginning?
right.
Like I mean I can analyze all day long and the results are going to be the same, which is yeah, this sucks.
Well, and the honest truth is, remember, now we'll go back to being an influencer or an advisor. If you or one of your viewers calls us in and the chief sales or chief revenue officer, chief marketing officer says, we are having issues and we have three different CRM salespeople who are really pushing hard for us to bring in their solutions.
Mhm.
As an influencer, as an advisor, my first question is, have any of those salespeople showed you a plan in which they analyze and optimize the processes, or are they just basically saying for $1 million a year or for $100,000 a year, whatever it comes down to, using our platform is your end game. It is your golden ticket. They are influenced, pardon me, bad word. They are incented to sell their
Right.
product. The same way salespeople, I mean, face it, salespeople are selling and they're salespeople.
Right.
But you need to see it holistically, that this is process driven,
Mhm.
that this is people driven, that the tools are good if everything else is in place.
Right. Right. And I go back to like Chat GPT, which I use every
Hmm.
single day.
Yep.
And if I tell Chat GPT to create me an email, it's only as good as creating an email or an article or by the information that I put in.
Right.
So your tools, and again, everybody some people get weirded out by AI, some people, AI is only as good as the information that you provide to it. I mean,
You are now leading people into my world, which is a
right.
beautiful thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. The way that we, and just for background's sake, I do have some certifications in AI. The most recent which was from MIT in AI in healthcare. And there is a term which I'm sure will gain a lot more visibility and traction day over day here. The term is hallucination. I don't know if you've heard it. It doesn't look like it. Um, AI engines,
Bringing me back to my college days. No,
dude,
sorry.
right on, bro. The uh, the the AI engines. I'm coming back to your point. The input is so important. The
Hmm.
information you put in. Okay, so let's say you ask a question into Chat GPT or something else. The engine that sits behind it is known as an LLM, a large language model. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the data, let's say the data here is correct, and there is a pretty highly reliable curated data source. And then over here, there's some more data. But in between, there's a gap. Okay, imagine a valley. AI engines will make a leap of logic to fill in the gaps and then to return a response to you extremely quickly. And they do this at blistering speed. That leap of logic oftentimes will return information that is incorrect, but it
Mm-hmm.
is inferred. That is what is known as a hallucination. Okay, that is data hallucination. And what people need to understand, what I don't call AI artificial intelligence, I call it augmented intelligence.
Okay.
And the reason being is that we are, at least at the current stage, it is heavily reliant upon you and I putting in the right information. It's reliant upon let's say you're a company and you want to create and leverage AI, whether it be for internal efficiency or for external value creation. So now you're using your own data stores and your own databases, okay? Maybe mixing it with others, but you're now leveraging your own knowledge. Um, the data that is going in and the information that is being produced still needs people to validate. It needs people to say, the sniff test, sanity check, however you
Right.
want to call it. And that's where the risk in AI exists.
Yep. And I remember early on when, like, God, this was quite a few years ago now. I was at like a little mini seminar, or it wasn't. I don't remember what it was, but somebody was giving like a talk on AI.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, still really new to me. I hadn't really gotten my, hands on anything yet. I hadn't really used it yet. People were still, learning about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, had existed for a while, but it just hadn't become like mainstream where I literally am on it every single day. And I'm like asking, hey, could you look up some information on this for me? And then I'll, again, he'd said like, and I remember this so clearly because I was like, oh, that's a really good piece of information. He said that Chat GPT and other AI tools out there are, and I want to get this phrase like, are, um, and like excitedly he said something some um are oh god, now I forgot the phrase, but basically he was saying they are, now I forgot the phrase, basically saying that they are inaccurate,
Mm-hmm.
but very
Convincingly.
convincingly inaccurate.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
you'll get this information spit out and you're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like it's based completely on facts."
Right,
So often I will ask for reference material if
right.
I'm looking for something that's like that I really need to know, like if so, hey, let me know where you're referencing this from. Like don't
Absolutely.
don't tell me that you're referencing this from some random
Facebook.
person,
Right,
Facebook or something.
right.
So, if I'm looking for true information, and then I can go back and like check those references to
Right.
make sure that they're coming from viable,
Yeah,
oh, confidently inaccurate. There we go. He said
there it is. Confidently
ChatGPT
inaccurate.
is confidently inaccurate. And I was like, that really, and there
It,
have been times where it's spit out information and I'm like, I don't think
it's
that's
like a
real.
toddler with great confidence.
Yes.
It's it the when I was taking that MIT course, it was kind of cool. It was like 8 weeks, and every week you would do a project. And after the third week or fourth week, the proctors actually called me. And of course, being a little paranoid, I thought, oh God, I'm being taken to the principal's office. Um, and what they said was that there are 200 people in the cohort. And they said 199 of them answer our questions or basically do the responses in the manner of thinking of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, we can do this and we can do this and we can do this. And they said, we love that because MIT, we want to foster creativity and push boundaries. But they said, yours is always the response that we love to read and we love to share amongst ourselves. And they said, because of the 200, you're the only one that answers things with a pragmatism. And in order to do this, and to do it predictably and profitably, and to identify and abate the risks that we're introducing into the environment, we have to do it this way. And they
Hmm.
said, so few people in this day and age understand that using AI in a profitable and risk abated fashion will again catapult their success.
Hmm.
Too many people think that AI is a technology problem with a technology solution, and it is a business problem or business opportunity that needs business strategy, it needs process, and then you can then use technology as the enabler, which is really the way it's always been.
Right. And I think people have misunderstood that
Yeah,
it's a tool to be
yeah.
used, not one to, yeah, it's a tool to be used,
Hmm.
and if used correctly is wildly powerful.
That's right.
Used incorrectly, and I think that we all understood that when the article, like, I don't know how many years ago that was now, where the lawyer was like used
Hmm.
it for his deposition, and it was like, oh my gosh, really? Like,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that was really the eye opener for some people when they went, oh.
yeah. Well, in your world, um, not to feel like I'm an outsider, but you're a sales professional, and I do it because I have to. Um, Salesforce is really dumping an immense amount of resources towards their sales agent technology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
But coming back to that point, it is not going to replace salespeople. It is not going to um, it is not going to seismically change well crafted processes. It's you're gonna again say, all right, we now have the cutting edge tools. We have a highly motivated sales team, sales force. We're using sales agents or whatever Salesforce is calling it. Um, but the reality is, it still comes down to an annual assessment of process. Is
Mm-hmm.
everything still finely tuned? Are the
Right.
salespeople uh, leveraging and adhering and complying? And
Right.
then the technology, again, in this case, maybe an AI injected platform is going to be your enabler for
Right.
success.
And our CRM, we are not only working on the sales, like a sales agent type thing, but
Mm-hmm.
we're focusing more on the mundane tasks, the repetitive tasks
Mm-hmm.
that our AI can learn to do that are repeatable.
Yes.
So I have a meeting with somebody, I send them an email. We're creating it so that once you've had that meeting, there's
Yeah.
a trigger in that system where that the system will automatically pull up that thank you email so that you can really
Yeah.
quickly look at it and be like, "Oh yes, this is the email that I now send after this meeting," where it does those like it has those functionalities where it's like, "Oh, you do this every time. Let me
Right.
just do this for you." So I mean, CRMs, and there is going to be systems where it's going to cut back hours of your time because
Yes.
our AI, the AIs are learning from the humans on what comes next, but there will always have to be the human element and oversight
Thank you.
because
Thank
it
you.
it's not a human. It doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have feeling. It doesn't have. And so when I meet with somebody who tells me, "Oh yeah, I was, on vacation with my three daughters or my whatever it might be," well, as a salesperson that has emotions and feelings and wants to be able to connect with the people,
Right. Right.
I want to be able to say, hey, I'm so glad that you had a great vacation. It was great that we have. My AI will never be able to instill that emotion
Right.
or that connection that I felt when I met with somebody.
Can I mention, now I'm going to bring this back to risk if I can for 1 second, because again, I'm amazed at how many companies, large and small, do not, when I say risk, if you say risk in the financial world, they think about trading risk or credit risk.
Right.
The risk I'm talking about is enterprise risk. And there
Mhm.
are, I want to say, if you look it up, there's like between 8 and 13 that they list out. But it's financial, operational, reputational, legal, strategic, etc. Okay.
Mhm.
And if you're pointing an AI agent or AI tool to the external, to the outside of your environment to for value creation purposes,
Mhm.
um, again, without some kind of operational control to make sure that what it's saying and what it's representing, the amount of risk that you're exposing yourself to is immense. Okay, because they're like dominoes. You know, if let's say you're in healthcare and you say, okay, well, I'm never going to compete with the big companies. I'm going to have to do something different. I'm going to create a differentiator. I'm going to use AI, and I'm going to have it so that my clients can ask questions. Okay. Well, the minute that something comes out of the system that causes somebody to do something dangerous to themselves or to a child, uh, take this antibiotic and this painkiller, and it causes a reaction, you now have, reputational, legal, all of the dominoes are falling.
Right.
Reputational, risk, or reputational, financial, operational, legal, strategic. They're all okay.
Right.
But when you point it internally, when you create widgets that are for internal efficiencies, you still have the same. You touched on it. And that's why I was excited. You said yes. I was like, if you are a salesperson and you are using that system that does exactly what you said, and
Mhm.
it's providing you the workflow. Okay, now here's the email. Here's the follow-up, whatever.
Right.
I agree with you that I personally would never assume that everything is right.
Right.
Doesn't matter how many times you use it. The fact is yes, AI can learn and AI does learn, but if AI is being trained on questionable data or with questionable interaction, it's not going to be a linear path towards the pot of gold. So if you're that salesperson, and I'm now speaking to anybody in your audience that's listening, is if you're that person who's lucky enough to be working in an organization that is really thinking about process and efficiency, and the system is putting in front of you the next thing you should do in the process, um, look it over every time and make
Right.
sure you're not just simply clicking send. Don't enable don't enable the automation of the process to take over. And to Leann's point, make it human, because the system will give you the boilerplate to work from, but it is going to look like an AI agent wrote it unless you make it your own.
Right. Right. And that's what do you do, Dave? If you get a robo call, what do you do?
Mhm. I don't answer it.
Well, the first thing I do is say, "Are you a human?"
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
typically the response is, "Yes, I am a human." And I'm like, "No, no, you're not. No, and I'll ask again, "Are you a human?" And
Right,
then they hang up on you because they're like, it gets tripped up in
right.
the whole, like, it doesn't know what to do at that point. And I'm like, and you can always tell. There
Oh,
was
for sure.
early on, there was one that, like, it's funny, but I mean, early on, there was one that was really funny. He kept saying, I can understand how you could think that I was not human. I mean, and you could tell like it was a robot. But
Right.
I'm not going to talk. I mean, eventually every call is going to probably be that. But like, I'm not going to talk to a robot right now. Like,
Right.
I'm not interested in talking. If you want to reach out to me and do a
Right.
sales call, fine. And I'm a salesperson, so often I will take sales calls and I will listen to their pitch
Yep.
and they're horrible. So many calls nowadays are horrible. They just talk over you.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll even say to them, "Stop. Stop. Stop." And they don't. And I'm like, "You know what?
You can't help but coach.
Fine. I'm hanging up." Like I know I can't help but do it. It's horrible. My
Okay.
husband's like, "Why do you put yourself through that?" I'm like, "I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know."
know.
I still in malls. God, I haven't been in a mall forever, but in a mall, I used to walk up to them and be like, "Okay, give me your spiel. Like,
Yep.
I want to hear it." But
That's it.
it's also training for me. Like, what are they doing that works? What are they doing that doesn't work?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's okay. Now that we've talked about my issues.
No, but it's so true. It's a good salesperson will listen and will only speak enough to keep the other person talking. And you're right, when somebody calls and it's obvious that they are going on a script and, you know, it's not converse, it's not dialogue, it's, I have to make sure you hear my message. Whether or not it's valuable to you is irrelevant to me.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not smart.
Okay. Well, Dave, we are coming to time. This has been such an awesome conversation. I could have it for the next hour, but I want to give you the opportunity to do your 30-second shameless pitch,
Mm.
because that is what we do on the Love Your Sales podcast. So you have 30 seconds.
Well, Segal Advisory Services. You can reach me at dave@segaladvisoryservices.com. And we are different in that we are not a consulting firm. We will do an assessment for you. It's intended to be brief and intended to be very affordable. You are going to get value from it quickly. You're going to find out what your company is strong at and what your company may need some attention on. But it's always being done from the customer's or the client's point of view. Most consulting firms will use the assessment as an opportunity for them specifically to sell. They want you to pay them to figure out how they can make you frightened or show you where you're lacking without really digging into your strategy and really understanding you. We want to become a trusted advisor to you. We are reputation based. We are integrity based. So when we come in and we look at your company, we're doing it with a knowledge of what your strategy is, what you see as your problems or your opportunities, and then helping you understand, can we achieve success in our current state? And here are the greens, the yellows, the reds, and let's help you figure that out. Everything we do is with the customer's perspective and point of view first and foremost. Once again, it's Dave at segaladvisoryservices.com. And I would love to hear from you.
And thank you so much for that, Dave. Your contact information will also be in the show notes. So if you are looking to reach out to Dave, you can check there for his email, his website, also his LinkedIn. So you'll be able to reach out to him there.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank
And I look forward to hearing from the millions and millions of listeners and viewers that you have.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
This podcast is presented by Accelerate Growth 45, your one-stop shop for business growth. Stop running your business like an operator, delaying wealth creation, and sacrificing your time. Instead, focus on building a valuable business asset, creating lasting wealth, and reclaiming the time you deserve. Accelerate your growth today and visit us at accelerategrowth45.com.
Thanks for joining us for Love Your Sales. For more, connect with Leighann on LinkedIn, and be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating and review. We'd love to hear what you think. Looking for a way to take your sales process to the next level? Visit us at loveyoursales.com to find out more about how Leighann can take your organization to new revenue heights. And be sure to join us next time for more great ways to love your customers so they love your sales.